guys, it's Jessica from Peace Out Books, and today I'm here with a recommendation video for one of my favorite tropes, which is small town romances. I even wore my Pucker Up cowboy sweatshirt that I got from the last chapter book box because I love small town. If you guys have watched me at all the past year, you know I've fallen in love with this trope. I guess it's more of a subgenre of romance than a trope, but I love a small town. They just feel so cozy, and I just need to feel the cozy vibes in my books that I'm reading lately, and I love how meddling the town is, how a lot of times it's forced proximity, or they literally just run into each other every single like corner they turn because it's a small town. There's a close community factor. A lot of times their family is there, so it's a close family aspect. Sometimes it's found family, but I love small town romances. So I did this video like 11 months ago, I think is what I looked. So almost a year ago I did this video. I will link that video in the description box down below, but these are some romances that I love that are small town, so I will get to the recommendations. The first one I have actually is an arc that I read, so it comes out next week, and I really want you guys to know about this book and put it on your radar, and that is Love Me Today by A.L. Jackson. This one is a single dad romance where it takes place on a ranch, and the heroine likes horses, and she teaches people how to ride horses. So the hero, he has his daughter, kind of. I don't want to spoil it, but he is the guardian of this little girl, and he is moving to this ranch, and he's very stoic and hardened, and like they do not get off on the right foot. They end up meeting because they run into each other in a parking lot with their cars, and then she's late to this interview that she has, and it's him that she run into in the parking lot. And so he is a very grumpy, very closed off stoic hero, and he has like a very protective nature over his daughter, but doesn't want to get too close to her and doesn't want to get close to anybody because of something in his past that is going to come back to haunt him. So this definitely has romantic suspense vibes. A.L. Jackson has really great twists. I've heard that she does. I have not read a lot of her backlist. I really need to read her other series that she wrote right before this one, but this one definitely has romantic suspense, especially towards the end, and obviously they're going to grow to like each other. This is definitely spicy. It takes place on a ranch because she is training the daughter on how to ride horses, so she's teaching her how to do that, and the daughter is like really in love with horses, and she's super sweet. I love this one. It takes place in a small town, so they see each other a lot, and so I would definitely recommend checking this out when it comes out next week. Definitely pre-order it if you want to. The audio was so good. It was Joe Arden who narrated it, so if you like Joe Arden, check out the audio as well, but this one definitely keep on your radar of books to read soon. My next one is by Claire Kingsley. I love Claire Kingsley. It is Unraveling Him. This series was a little bit rough for me to get into because books 1 and 2 are pretty much like together. So book 1 I feel like would be like the prequel to book 2, which is what I was really wanting because it's about a couple who are madly in love, and so I was reading a book about a couple madly in love, and I don't like that, so I enjoyed book 2 more, which was a second chance. But book 3 is a grumpy sunshine romance, forced proximity. The heroine works for her father, who really takes advantage of her with her like working at their company that they have, working with cars, and she's a great employee. She has a lot of connections and finds out that her best friend's sleeping with her dad. She is horrified and she decides to quit, but she needs money and she needs to fix up her car. So she runs into our hero who was cheated out of a car by her father, and she's like, my dad's actually like involved in illegal things again. He told me he wasn't going to. And so she asks for his help and offers to get him a car that he needs if he'll help her. So they go on a road trip together to get this car, and then she ends up sleeping in her car, and he finds out and he's like, what the heck are you doing? Just stay in my house. So then she stays with him, and it's such a sweet and fun romance. He has a very meddling family because he is definitely more of a stoic hero as well. I love the grumpy stoic heroes, and his family tries to pull him out of his shell, and the heroine does as well, and it's so good. I love this one. I'm excited to read more from the series, but this is definitely my favorite so far. The next one I have is a recent read of mine. I don't exactly remember what the series is called, but I really enjoyed the first 2 books in the series, and the first one's helped me remember. The third one was a pretty big miss for me, but this one's an Amnesia romance. These are very romantic suspense, especially book 2, which was my favorite. So this one is I don't know if I can say it without spoiling it. All I can say is it's Amnesia. This one, her brother was murdered in front of her, and then she got hurt and got amnesia. They're trying to help her remember, but without telling her too much, because what she could say could be used in court, but they don't want to lead her and create false memories. So her family and her brother's friends are all trying to help her get her memory back without telling her. She gets the help of one of her brother's friends to like show her around town, help her remember what happened, and she thinks she's still dating an ex who comes back into town. Obviously, they're not still dating. happening, but she is dating someone. She sees things in her apartment that she's like, obviously I had a significant other in my life, so she's trying to unravel that. Suspense at the end when we get to like what actually happened to her brother. And then the second book is about a couple in here where the wife shows up to one of the brother's friends, and they had gotten married when they were in the military together. It was a marriage of convenience, fell in love, and then she left him, and so it's their romance. That one they get together like a little quickly, but then we have tons of suspense that was so good. It was like the suspense I eat up. I loved it, and there were like secrets that were happening, and it was just so good. And the third one I gave like 2.5 stars. I didn't love it. I feel like there was an overarching plot with the suspense that felt forced, and I didn't need it. So books 1 and 2 are amazing though. Highly recommend checking them out. Really great friend group. You see all of the characters throughout the books as well. I really enjoyed it. I think it's the Rose Canyon series actually. Then I have the Love Life Farm series by B.K. Borison. This one is super sweet because the first one, which is Love Life Farms, it takes place on a Christmas tree farm, and it's fake dating friends to lovers, and it's so good. She entered this competition where she could be featured by the social media star on her social media, and she gave this really cute story though that she was doing the farm with her boyfriend. So she asked her best friend to be her boyfriend for this like segment, and he agrees. Super cute. And then we have In the Weeds, which is my favorite. It is that social media star. She had actually hooked up with her like really close friend who works on the farm and didn't know that he worked on the farm, and then things got awkward, and now she's back in town because Love Light Farms, the town that it takes place in, was one of the only places she felt happy and just like content, and she felt like the social media was really just bringing her down and not where she wanted to be in her life. So this was that romance. Beckett I'm obsessed with, amazing. And then the last one is really sweet because they're both really like sunshine characters. He I think is a substitute teacher and she has a bakery, and they both are having horrible dating times, so they decide to practice date with each other and obviously fall in love. But very sweet, very meddling characters, especially in this one. She wants to stay in the town, and they're all like, we have no room, but Beckett has an extra room, go stay with him. So this is just super cute. Very much reminds me of Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls, so check the series out if you have not yet. Then I have the Cottonwood Cove series by Laura Pavlov. I've only read book 1. I'm really excited for book 2 because this is a billionaire romance, which I love. This one's a brother's best friend romance, and it's during the summer before she heads off to her like corporate job in Chicago after college, and she has a to-do list she wants to complete, and the hero, who is her brother's best friend, decides to help, and they fall in love, and she's working for him during the summer as well. And I had so much fun reading this. I loved how she was trying to decide between staying at the small town or moving to the big city. That's always been her dream, and then she's like, well, maybe I really love the small town, and that aspect comes into play here, and I had a lot of fun reading it. Definitely recommend this one. Like I said, book 2 recently came out, and I cannot wait to read that one. We also have Beyond the Thistles by Samantha Young. This one's a small town in Scotland. It is the Scottish Highlands. I'm obsessed. This is very romantic suspense. So the heroine, something really bad happened to her in the prologue. So she's on the run with her daughter, and she is working for this estate for very wealthy people. That was in the Adair series, which came before this series. You don't need to read that before reading this. I'd only read 1 book. Read this totally fine, but I do know characters cross over. So in this one, the hero is a bodyguard at that estate, and so her life becomes in danger, and he becomes very overprotective and is like, I'm gonna protect you at all costs. We're gonna keep you safe and figure out who is trying to hurt you. So very romantic suspense, like I said, because someone is after her and her daughter, but the hero is just this big brooding bodyguard who has a very damaged past. It is so sad what his past is, but I loved him and I loved their relationship, and he has to be open with her, and that's definitely a point of contention because she's very open to him, and it takes a lot longer for him to open up to her. But very good. Highly recommend this one as well. And I also have One Look by Lena Hendricks. This one's another single dad romance. Single parent in small town just pair so perfectly together. He is a football coach, so he is a coach at a place nearby, like a university nearby. He used to be a very famous football player, and now he is a coach. And his dad, I do want to mention, I forgot last time I talked about this, does have some form of dementia, which is really hard to read about because he forgets a lot about his own children, and it's really hard on the hero. So definitely know that going in if that's a sensitive subject to you. But the heroine is someone who is an actress who is hired to cry at people's funerals. So she's hired in this small town and then decides to stick around and rent a place there and the town really helps her out, which is really cute, and she is constantly running into the hero, and then they start falling for each other, but she has dreams of becoming an actress. So again, kind of similar to that other one, is that like her big dreams take her to the big city, but is she falling in love with small town life and wants to stay there? I had so much fun reading this as well. I'm very excited. This is the first in a new series, so book 2 should be coming out later this year. Then I have Rewrite Our Story by Kat Singleton. This one is a second chance small town romance, and another one where she lives in a big city and she's back home because her best friend's mother has passed away, and she actually has been in love with her best friend's brother for pretty much her whole life. In the summer before she left for college, they fell in love and they had their chance at a relationship, but he breaks her heart before she leaves, so she is devastated and never comes back until now because she lost her own mom in the past, which was in the prologue, and he was there for her, so she has come back into town to be there for her friend and her friend's brother, and obviously things blossom. Kat Singleton writes some good spice, so this one was definitely spicy as well, and I really enjoyed it. They had to revisit what tore them apart in the past and rewrite their love story, and she's an author, and I just had so much fun. He works on a farm too. We love a small town that has a farm as well, so definitely check this one out. And my last recommendation I save for last because I talk about this author all the time, but I could not do small town without recommending Catherine Cowles. This is a Lost and Found series, so this is her newest series, and we have such a huge family element in this one because in book 1 the hero is back in town because his dad had a heart attack. Whispers of You is book 1, and he has to address his ex-girlfriend. He completely obliterated her heart in the past because when they were young there was a horrible shooting in town and he was terrified of losing everybody, so he left, and he left her. Now he's back and someone is terrorizing the people who survived the shooting, so he is determined to protect everybody. He is a security kind of person. He works in security. You do see him in Hidden Waters in her Tattered and Torn series. And then book 2 is a friends to lovers romance where it is the heroine who had left for a bigger city with her fiance, and he was abusive, and so she finally left and came back to their small town, and things just picked up where they left off with her and her best friend. They are super close, and then things start to become more between them, but the family aspect in this is so strong. Oh my goodness, it's so strong, and I loved it so much. And in this one we have a who did this to you moment, and both of them are very overprotective heroes, so if you love that, please read these books. And the rest of the books all focus on the family, so they all have different characters, so it is their sister's story next, and the last 2 are 2 more of the brothers. So there's 4 boys and 1 girl. They have the best family ever, and I really love seeing their time together and how protective all of the brothers get over the heroines in this story. It is just perfect. And those are my small town romance recommendations. Let me know if you have any other small towns that you love. These are just authors that I have been absolutely loving lately, and you definitely have to check all of them out, especially all these books. Check out Elle Jackson's book, which does release a week from today. I will link it down below, and make sure you don't miss out when it releases. So that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.